Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving into Colin Dexter's Service of All the Dead. It's a really fascinating literary puzzle. We've seen it described as, get this, boring yet intriguing, which, immediately grabs your attention, right? How can a book feel kind of slow in parts yet totally captivating? So our mission for this deep dive is to explore exactly that. How can a novel maybe not scream thriller on the surface, but become really absorbing through its characters, its incredibly strong sense of place, and these powerful underlying themes of like consequence and obsession? We're going to try and uncover why, despite that initial boring label, you might find you just can't put it down.
Yeah, and what's compelling right from the start is how that description itself sets up this unique challenge for us and for the reader too. It kind of forces us to look beyond the immediate action you might expect from a murder mystery and to understand the different layers, often much subtler, that really pull you in. It's about finding intrigue where you might not expect it.
Exactly. It's a real paradox, isn't it? Our analysis showed that for some readers, you do not enjoy it, but you keep on reading. Which really begs the question, how does that work? How can it be slow-paced and captivating? What our sources really highlight as the magnetic pull here. It isn't just the mechanics of the mystery, not even just how the murders happen. It's something much more personal. Inspector Morse's, his profound obsession throughout the case. You keep reading not just for the answer, but because you're watching him wrestle with it, seeing how his mind works as he goes deeper. It's his internal journey as much as the external case.
Absolutely. And this really highlights a broader point about storytelling, I think. In a lot of crime fiction, the whodunit is, everything. But here, the who are they, the characters, becomes just as compelling, maybe even more so. Morse isn't this perfect, infallible detective figure. He's flawed. He's often frustratingly obsessive, sometimes even vulnerable. We see the case through his very human struggle, which makes his quest feel really personal to you, the reader. It draws you into his head in a way a purely plot-driven story might not.
Yeah, that's true. But it's not just Morse carrying that character-driven weight, is it? There are other figures who are just fascinating. Our notes mention this 40-year-old virgin lady who's described surprisingly as exciting and exotic. And this unexpected romantic angle isn't just a side plot. It acts as this brilliant counterpoint to the investigation, which can seem quite mundane at times. It's a key insight, I think, into how Dexter keeps us hooked. He makes us invest not just in the crime, but in these intensely human, often awkward personal entanglements around Morse. You find yourself wanting to see how things will progress between them. It adds this whole mystery girl plot element that keeps you turning pages for reasons way beyond the body count.
Right. And then there's his junior site inspector, Bell. He's not just there to, fetch coffee or take notes. Our material suggests Bell often comes up with alternative theories or makes observations that maybe Morse dismisses at first. But they subtly plant these seeds of doubt for the reader. And that dynamic makes us, the audience, question our own assumptions. We start to invest in Bell's perspective, too. It adds another layer to the whole thing, to unraveling the truth. It's actually quite a clever way to keep the reader guessing and maybe challenge Morse's occasional tunnel vision.
That's a really good point. But okay, if the characters in their personal lives are so central, does that risk pushing away readers who just want a straightforward, fast-paced mystery? Or is there something else balancing it out?
I think it is balanced, yeah. And it's balanced by the richness of the setting itself, which actually leads us perfectly into our next point. Because the novel doesn't just give us great characters, it builds this incredibly vivid world around them.
Precisely. Yeah, our deep dive really emphasizes that sometimes books aren't just about plot, but the characters and the place. And in Service of All the Dead, the place itself, the location, the town, the police station, and especially that church where so much happens, it really takes on its own distinct character. These elements are what bring in the colors and the meat to the story, making the setting feel, alive. Think about it. Stories that are really rooted in a specific community, where all the characters are locals. They often come with these multiple tangled threads. Everyone knows each other, or thinks they do. They know each other's secrets or snippets of them. The connections can be incredibly complicated. A casual remark about someone's habits or some long-running family feud, it can suddenly seem sinister when a crime happens. Dexter skillfully uses all this gossip and the rumors, sometimes as red herrings, sometimes as these subtle little breadcrumbs that pull Morse and us deeper into the town's hidden life. Genuinely adds momentum.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How the locale becomes almost an active participant, not just a passive backdrop. The history of this place is described as deeply woven, which means Morse, coming in as the new person in the town, isn't just solving a crime. He's kind of studying the existing social dynamics of the community. And these dynamics, these relationships and histories, while they might seem surprising and out of place at first, they eventually make perfect sense when you consider the deep, enduring history of this place. How decades of unspoken things, past events, have shaped its very fabric. It's a very organic way to build a world, showing how the past constantly shapes the present, and how individual lives are just inseparable from the community they're in.
Okay, so we've got compelling characters, a really strong sense of place. How do their histories and the secrets buried in this community actually fuel the central mystery itself? Our sources reveal that in this book, various characters have connections that were not visible, yet they were sustaining. And these connections form this profound and often tragic chain of events. It's not just about secret relationships. It's about the really disturbing chain of cause and effect. We see how someone with influence does something in an emotional state, which then leads to another person feeling compelled to commit suicide out of guilt. And then tragically, one death leads to more deaths. Just a cascade triggered by confusion, panic, stress, fear.
And this is where the novel really gets into the profound weight of consequence. It stops being just a simple murder mystery. It becomes about the ripple effects of choices, particularly those made in an emotional state. It really underscores this powerful belief that seems to run through the narrative: the wrong is the wrong. The book seems to be messaging that eventually you have to suffer the consequences, whether it's through some kind of karmic unraveling or something more direct. It suggests the universe, or maybe just the darker side of human nature, always finds a way to balance the scales, like a moral accounting system.
Wow, that is a powerful idea. And our material puts it really forcefully. You cannot run from the sin of your past. Every harm you do is a gun loaded in your direction, and the trigger will be pressed, either in your lifetime or your generations.
That really drives home the lasting impact of our actions, doesn't it? It does, and it raises an important question, too. What if the wrongdoing had good intentions behind it? The book seems to suggest that it's the outcome, not just the intent, that dictates the consequence, which is, a nuanced and often uncomfortable truth to face. It forces you to consider the full weight of actions, regardless of why they were initially done. It makes us confront those moral gray areas. It's less about clear-cut good versus evil, and more about the unavoidable echoes of our choices.
And that complexity, I think, makes the investigation itself all the more gripping, even when the plot is moving quite deliberately. So, shifting to Morse's actual detective work, he has this strong hunch about the case right from the start, and he just keeps digging relentlessly until the head office finally assigns him to it officially. But it's not a smooth ride, is it? His investigation journey is full of challenges. He comes to a dead end multiple times. He's facing false leads, baffling clues. But whether it's sheer luck, his incredible persistence, or maybe the eventual support of a reasonable police force, they always find something to go on. It really speaks to the grit and determination of a detective who just refuses to give up.
And the stakes just keep getting higher as it goes on. They keep finding dead bodies after dead bodies, which leads them, and us the readers, to think maybe a mass murderer is on the loose. Different theories keep surfacing and then getting rejected. It keeps you completely on your toes.
What's also quite unique here, and maybe contributes to that boring yet intriguing feel, is how Dexter handles the violence. The material notes that the murders are done off the page, so the reader is saved from the unnecessarily gruesome, detailed crime scene. And yet, the emotional impact is still incredibly strong. It's almost a testament to Dexter's skill, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
He trusts our imagination to fill in the blanks, which often makes the horror feel much more chilling than explicit gore ever could. It reminds me of those classic suspense films where what you don't see is often way more terrifying. And even when it's just briefly mentioned, like the killing of a child, that will always be profoundly impactful. It instantly creates this anger, this desire for justice. And that subtly provides this unconscious motivation to see the killer's end, while the very driven Morse gives us confidence that we will get a close ending, even if it's not neat and tidy.
That narrative choice is truly fascinating. It proves that really impactful storytelling doesn't always need graphic details to convey the horror or motivate the reader. By focusing on the psychological impact, the investigation itself, Dexter invites us to engage more deeply with the character's reactions, with Morse's internal struggle, rather than just being, desensitized by constant violence. And our analysis hints that the ending is circular and ironic, which implies a kind of poetic justice, maybe? Perhaps a resolution where the consequences loop back to the initial actions, or where a theme finds an unexpected but fitting conclusion. It's a way of showing that maybe some patterns, some wrongdoings, are destined to repeat or find a strangely symmetrical end, often with a twist that makes you rethink everything you thought you knew.
So, okay, what does this all mean for us? We've explored how Service of All the Dead, despite sometimes being described as boring in its plot pace, it truly shines through its deep character studies, especially Morse's captivating obsession and those nuanced other figures like the enigmatic lady and the observant Belle. We've seen how the powerful sense of place makes the local community almost a character in itself, and how that intricate web of consequences unravels from past actions, highlighting these profound themes of guilt and, well, fate. And it's all driven by Morse's relentless, almost obsessive hunt for the truth, even when he keeps hitting dead ends. Our analysis definitely recommends this book. It calls it your gritty murder mystery, but really highlights its rich local lore, which makes it uniquely enjoyable. It's not about rushing to the finish line, is it? It's about savoring the journey, the psychology, the deeply human drama along the way.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how the book challenges our expectations of what a good mystery novel even is. It prioritizes the psychological landscape, the moral repercussions over things like jump scares or shocking twists, and it invites us to reflect on the deeper currents, societal currents that shape a community and all its secrets. It makes us ask ourselves what truly makes a story compelling. Is it always the adrenaline rush? Or can it be the quiet, insistent pull of human nature laid bare?
Well put. We really hope this deep dive encourages you to pick up Service of All the Dead, or maybe just to look at the stories you already love through a slightly different lens. What makes your favorite boring yet intriguing story so compelling, even if it's not always about the plot? Something to think about.